And Allie, of course, you were there 1 year ago today. What a difference a year makes. And I thought the ceremony was really nice.
Yes, Kent, and I think we were both surprised how many people came out on this Tuesday morning to honor the Monday afternoon we had 1 year ago on May 20th, 2013. It looks a lot different now than it was 2 hours ago, where there were hundreds of people. They had packed into these seats here. There was standing room only. Folks were filling up this parking lot. We saw every kind of person here and more. There were a lot of families, a lot of children. We saw some troops, folks, members of our armed services. We saw a lot of medical personnel and just neighbors who live in this area who wanted to come out and remember what happened 1 year ago. They wanted to honor those 25 lives, and they wanted to hear from our state leadership about where we go from here. You see in the background these white trailers here. Right now, that's the temporary Moore Medical Facility. They made a decision a few months after the tornado that they were going to rebuild, and the community of Moore had a huge sigh of relief. They wanted their community hospital to come back. It was a big decision on the part of the healthcare company that ran Moore Medical Center and runs the Healthplex in Norman and Norman Regional Hospital. So they're in these temporary facilities now, but today they had a groundbreaking. They will begin constructing a brand new Moore Medical Center right here in the very spot that it was 1 year ago. Mayor Glenn Lewis spoke to the crowd today. He said the new Moore Medical Center is going to be like the Devon Tower of Moore. It's going to be 5 stories high and more remarkable than it ever was before. And who could forget the images of Moore Medical Center from 1 year ago? The building just looked like Mother Nature had taken a bite out of it. It was a metaphor for what had happened all across this community. The homes just behind me were leveled, and there were lives lost in this very area. Not at Moore Medical Center. That was a point that they stressed today, that the nurses and doctors at the hospital did their very best and were successful in saving every life inside Moore Medical Center. But this anniversary is a reminder that 25 people did not make it out of that afternoon alive. There were the 24 deaths that were reported on that first day, and then one victim that died about 6 months later from a stroke after a surgery following her tornado injuries. Let's hear more from Governor Mary Fallin and Tom Cole from during the ceremony today.
Now, if you're from Moore, Oklahoma, wherever you're at and whatever you're doing today, I promise you, you're having a better day than you had a year ago. Because if you were on ground, you were dealing with a horrific situation. And if you were any distance away, you were wondering about your family and your friends and your community, and could they get through this, and how could you get back there right away to them?
And there have been a lot of people who've asked, can this city recover? Can our people recover? But we already know the answer to that question. And the answer to that question is yes, we will recover. Yes, we will rebuild. And yes, we're going to grow even stronger.
We're going to be back, and we are back, and we're bigger, and we're stronger, and we're better, because that's what we do in Moore, Oklahoma.
That is what we do here in Moore, Oklahoma. You see the flag over my left shoulder, Kent Moore Strong. They are lining the streets here in the community of Moore. Though one other speaker said this morning, and I know you heard these words too when you were here, there is no timeline on grief. So while so many here are celebrating recovery and healing, and they are looking forward, there are some heavy hearts here in the community of Moore, particularly those families of loved ones who lost someone they loved on that day, the 7 angels who died in Plaza Towers Elementary. We know for some of their families, this day is just one more day of heartbreak. Back to you.
And Allie, I know that while we were there, we actually ran into some of the people affected by the storms, hurt by that terrible storm, that were there today, and we have profiled them before. It was interesting to talk to them. It was good to talk to them.
Yeah, these folks are moving forward. I spoke to Joy Waldroup. She was in her home on May 20th and had some pretty serious injuries to her heel. I was so thrilled to see her up and walking around. She lost her daughter, Shannon Quick. Shannon had 2 sons. Those 2 sons lost their mother on that day, and one of the sons was real seriously injured. Jackson Quick has been in and out of the hospital over the past year. He had another surgery last week. So we're talking about an elementary kid who's had more than a dozen surgeries in this past year. It has been a very difficult year for so many families like the Quicks and the Waldroup family and others here in the Moore area. As we know, Kent, here in Oklahoma, recovering from tragedy is no easy task. It is a long process. It is one day at a time, and the folks here are doing the very best they can. We've talked a lot also about building safer schools here in Moore. Briarwood Elementary and Plaza Towers Elementary, the walls are up, and school officials tell us they plan to have school there in the coming fall. So much progress has been made here in Moore. Back to you.
All right, Allie, thank you so much for that live report. Allie Meyer there live in Moore, where we brought you that ceremony live earlier.